picture the scene. You're out and about riding your bike, whether it's on the road or on the trails. It's getting dark, you either break down and you need to do an emergency camp somewhere. What are you going to do? Well, let's get into this one. RevelatorAlf. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So yes, I'm out on the righteous Riehu here, just having a bit of fun on a sunny Sunday late afternoon. Anyway, so I thought about motorcycle camping, motor camping. And then I thought, well, actually, no, I could just do a video about that, you know, putting a tent on the bike or on the Harley or whatever it is and going off camping. But where's the fun in that? So then I thought, well, how about emergency camping? What are you going to do if you need to bed down somewhere and you just haven't really got a lot with you? So this is what I thought. Okay, first of all, obviously you want to try and find some shelter, and you also want to try and find a safe place, preferably out of eyesight of anyone else. So you want to be very stealth-like, I would say, but you kind of want somewhere sheltered, somewhere that's got natural shelter. That will be even better. Now the next thing is, well, if you're going to bed down, what kind of surface are you going to lie on? Well, ideally you want to be off the ground, right? You've seen all these survival programs. You want to be off the floor if you can, but if you can't, try and find somewhere that's at least padded a little bit and flat with a bit of grass. Otherwise you're not going to be able to sleep anyway, right? In the worst case scenario, you'd be out in the open, no shelter. Let's say, okay, yeah, I've got trees here, but there's no actual above shelter. You just want to find somewhere soft next to your bike, if you can, and you're just gonna have to sleep in your clothes. You're gonna have to rough it, as simple as that. As daft as it sounds, you may want to put your helmet on as a bit of heat protection for your head as well, especially if it's going to get cold through the night, but that's not absolutely necessary. But just bear in mind, the ground is going to get cold and it's going to get wet as well, so you're not going to have a good night's sleep. However, if you carry a couple of small items with you, either strapped to the bike or in a backpack, you don't necessarily need a tent, and it might just provide you enough shelter for you. And it's kind of lightweight, and it's kind of, well, it's doable really. So I'm going to give you 3 different scenarios here. So first of all, you've got your bike. That's one bit of shelter. You can either put that against the wind is coming from this direction, it's going to block a bit of wind. You lie on the other side. Never lie on the side stand side, I would say, just in case the bike falls on you. Always lie down, bed down on that side. So you can lie down next to the bike. That's going to provide you with a bit of shelter, you know, whilst the engine is still warm as well. You've got a bit of warmth radiating out of there. That's going to keep you going for a little bit. So that's one scenario. The next scenario is, let's say you've actually got some kind of blanket, some kind of bedroll, or some kind of tarp with you, some kind of sheet. Then you could tie that to the bike, have a lean-to shelter over here, either hold it down with rocks or if you've got pegs with you, and then you can lie under a shelter like that. So let me just show you that. So in your backpack, you might have a sleeping bag, so that's for phase 3. You might have a bit of tarpaulin. You can either have all that always strapped to the bike, or you can have a proper sheet. And this is just a sun sheet really, but it's really compact. Right, let me show you. I'll put it up and then I'll show you how I've done it. Okay, as you can see, very quickly, less than 5 minutes, you've got a shelter using your bike and also that kind of lean-to with any kind of tarp, any kind of large blanket, anything like that. So you put one corner over the handlebar, over the front mudguard, and tie one end through the fork, and then tie it to the foot peg, strap it down at the center, and also bring in the other end as well, so it's firmly placed on this side. There's no risk of the bike falling on you, and preferably the lean will be into the wind, so it's going to protect you against the wind as well. Here's another peg. There we go. Done. Right, so here now you can see I've got some kind of shelter. This is pretty much how my preferred way of camping would be. Very simple, very basic, very quick as well. If it's raining, you've got some rain protection. If it's really windy, you've got some wind protection. It's not going to be ideal. Let's face it, you're going to get a bit cold, you're going to get a bit wet, but it's better than nothing. So what I like about this is that it's really quick to put up, it's really compact on the bike, and it's definitely going to suit if you're riding in warm temperatures as well. If you're riding in warm temperatures and it's in the summer, this would be much better for me. Okay, so as you can see, the first one is to use your bike as any kind of shelter. Find some natural shelter. If you can't, then you're going to have to rough it, just sleep in your clothes, you know, protect the heat loss from your head, that kind of thing, but it's going to be wet. The next thing is that you make your own shelter in any way you can. Here I'm using the bike with a bit of tarp, let's say, or a sheeting or whatever it is. Okay, the next thing, using this shelter, but you need to protect yourself from the ground. Right, so if you've got a second bit of tarp, great. If you're carrying extra clothing with you, use that, lie on that. In the absence of that, try and get some branches, some leaves, whatever, anything that you can to put on the ground to bed it down. Okay, let me use this tarp, but you get the general idea. Right, here we go, tarp on the floor, and now I'm dry from the floor. Okay, I suppose the next thing is to get a sleeping bag out, right? Now, especially for the summer, I would always carry something like this, a really lightweight one. You can use it to lie on or sleep in. Just remember, even in the summer, especially here in the UK, in the early hours of the morning, it's going to get quite cold, or it can get quite cold. And as our weather is really unpredictable, you know, that's what I would always think about as well. So very basics here. If you want to take a sleeping bag, you can. Make it really lightweight, carry a bit of tarp, carry a bit of sheeting, and you'll have enough shelter for the evening. And hopefully you'll survive the night and not get eaten by a bear or a fox or a raccoon or anything with pointy teeth and long claws. You know what I mean? Right, now I've got the sleeping bag on the tarp next to the bike. I've got a bit of protection from the bike, I've got protection from the elements, and there we go, a decent place to bed down for the night. So the next thing is, what about food? What about cooking and all that kind of stuff? Well, if it's an emergency camp, you're probably not going to be doing any cooking. If you're trying to be a little bit incognito as well, lighting fires isn't really a good idea, is it? So the other thing I would always say, and pretty much this is what I carry in my backpack all the time, especially if I'm doing any kind of longer ride, when I was doing my endurance rides, that kind of thing, I'd always take food bars with me. There you go, food bar. Eventually found it in a backpack, no cooking required, and just a little bit of protein or whatever it is to keep you going through the night. And basically that's all it is, that's all you're after really, isn't it? Just keep yourself going through the night. Let's face it, if you start lighting fires all over the place, you either get fined or arrested, depending on where you are, because they might not allow fires. Depending where you are, you may not be able to camp anyway. So let's say if this is on a trail, a public trail, you might get away with just bedding down for the night. If you spot a farmer or something, you might ask, can I quickly bed down in your field, that kind of thing, as long as you go away in the morning. But the idea is that you quickly bed down for the night, get a bit of shelter, and then up in the morning, you're away, you're trying to push the bike out onto the main road, whatever, but you're vacating the area really quickly, and you're not leaving any sign that you were there. You don't leave any rubbish, you don't leave any sign of fire, anything. You've just bedded down for the night, then the next morning you're up and away you go. Anyway, hope you found that useful. I really should have taken my shirt off, but there we go. So, you know, people, I suppose I talked about this a few weeks ago when I said, you know, moto camping and how I do it, or my preferred way of doing it. And I suppose this is my preferred way of doing it. very basic, very simple, just a sheet, just a bit of shelter, something, you know, to lie on, especially in the summer months. It gets different in the winter or when I say in the autumn and the spring, because it gets really cold, so you need to take like a tent or, you know, warm sleeping bag, that kind of thing. But for this kind of thing, summer months, yeah, this is the way I'll do it. But let us know how you do it. What's your preferred method if you're going motorcycle camping? Do you take everything? Do you take the kitchen sink, the big tent and all the cooking equipment, or do you go just like me, very basic? And as I said in a previous video a while ago, if I go camping, I need food and water, then I just buy it on the way. I don't tend to necessarily take it with me unless I know I'm going into the area where there's no shops and no way of buying anything. But anyway, right, hope you found that useful or interesting. Let us know your thoughts. As I say, I'm no expert at motorcycle camping at all. Far from it. I used to do this a lot of years ago, but I very rarely do it these days. I say more into the motor camper rather than motorcycle camping, but every now and again I will go off either day camping or overnight camping somewhere, and this is the kind of thing that I tend to do, especially if it's warmer weather. But anyway, listen, over to you. Let us know your thoughts, let us know your comments, and let us know your best ways of doing it and your ideas of motorcycle camping. Is it extravagant or is it really minimalist, just like me? Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share, check out the website RevelatorAlf.com, and I'll catch you again. Ta-da.